crashed extraterrestrial craft, what you call UFOs. And they never told these stories unless they had quite a bit to drink. So I never really believed it. I thought, well, these guys are running a scam on me, even though I'd heard about these things when I was a kid. I just still didn't believe it. It's just so far out in left field, it's not something that you really give any serious thought to until something personal happens, which came later.
Money. Bingo. Money. Yeah. Money. Let's go, baby.
Sick or not, I was going to go in the Navy because that's really what I had wanted to do. So I did. Volunteered for submarine duty and was assigned to the USS 𝚅𝚒, SS-416.
I don't need it. I want it. Got to get high.
While we were on a transit from the Portland-Seattle area, on the surface, I actually saw, I was the port lookout, and I saw the most incredible thing that I think I've ever seen in my life. And it had such a profound effect upon my view of the universe and the world that we live in, that I wish everybody could experience this. I saw come up out of the ocean, from beneath the surface of the sea, a huge disc-shaped craft about the size of a Midway-class aircraft carrier.
Hey, Bauer, long time no see, eh?
I'm busy. So, you on a break?
Yeah. I can't smoke inside anymore, because it's a new law, eh?
Oh, yeah?
Unless I want to put it into my act. But, I don't want to do that because, I like to keep both hands free for the snake,
Yeah. How is the snake?
Oh, it's good. Oh, how's your mom?
She's good. Her arm grew back.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, it's good.
A huge, tremendously big object came up out of the ocean and rose into the air and tumbled on its axis and went up into the clouds, and I was awestruck, dumbstruck. And I mean dumbstruck literally. I could not utter a sound.
So,
What? What is it? What? Oh! Oh, yes. So I've got some crack, and I've got some coke, and I've got some crank, and some smack, and some ecstasy. Would you like some ecstasy? Huh?
You don't got any pot, do you?
Bauer, don't be so naive, huh?
There's no pot anywhere. You know why, eh? It's the man. The man. He keeps the leaf off the street because the leaf promotes peace, and peace isn't profitable.
So I told the officer of the deck that I'd seen something about 15 degrees off the port bow at a relative distance of about 2.5 nautical miles. And he began to look in that area. And the starboard lookout had heard me tell him this, and he began to look over there. And while we were all three watching, either the same craft or another one exactly like it came down out of the clouds, tumbled again on its, why it did this maneuver, I don't know, but every single time it did it. It's like it came down in this attitude, and then it flipped over, and then entered the water. And the water just appeared to open up in front of it. It's just like the account in the Bible about the parting of the Red Sea. That's exactly what happened. The sea actually parted, and this thing went into the water and then closed up behind it. And this big spray went up into the air. But it wasn't a spray from the craft hitting the water. It was a spray from the water.
Hey, officer. Things pretty quiet today, sir.
Yes, citizen. All the bad people are asleep, waiting for the dark.
So you feel better now, huh? I fixed you up? You feel better now, huh? Huh? You feeling good now, eh? Huh?
Yes. My ulcer is much better now.
Yes, wasn't she hot?
Oh, I got to go, Val.
Okay.
You take good care of that hair, huh?
All right.
Okay.
Jocelyn with her pesky snake, Latoya.
And again, I'm thinking this is incredible. What are we looking at here?
So, officer, you got an ulcer, do you?
What the hell are you talking about? Oh, yes. My ulcer. That ulcer, yeah.
And it was metal. It was a machine, and it wasn't glowing or anything like that. It didn't have any lights on it that we could see. But it was obviously metal, and it was obviously a machine. And although I can't tell you that there was anyone inside of it, I believe that there was.
I know how that is, because I got an ulcer myself. Although maybe it's just an itch. Who knows? All I know is that what I use to scratch it is pot. You know, each his own, free country, all that jazz. I was just wondering if you know where I could get some ulcer medicine.
Well, I hear there's a pharmacy at 333 River. Oh, don't tell me what I told you here.
Okay, take care of that ulcer, eh?
Okay, what else? Police, open up!
Here's something that came from under the water and flew in the air and performed maneuvers and then came back down and interfaced with the water at tremendous speed and remained intact, which realistically, it never touched the water. The water sort of magically opened up in front of it, but something had to interface with that water. Anything that we had that interfaced with the water in that manner would have been disintegrated. It's like hitting a brick wall.
Password.
Gotta get high.
How about it?
Hello? Hello there. Okay, Bauer, just chill. Hey, what's this? Hey, how'd you do that?
You don't want to know.
This was in 1966.
Okay, Bauer. No, you're right. Hey man, you got your pot? Hey guys. Got any pot?
And as shocked as I was,
Oh, hi. God, am I glad to see you. You got any pot?
Oh, wait, makes me red.
Hi. You guys got any pot?
No, but try some junk. It's absolutely free. Promotional offer.
No, I don't want any junk. I just want some pot, you know? Like,
Get with the New World Order, man. There's no more pot on the earth anymore. The government destroyed it all, man, in order to protect the oil companies.
yeah, why?
Because marijuana seeds can be made into a fuel more efficient than gasoline. And the government doesn't like that. And who controls the government?
The oil companies.
Exactly. And who controls the oil companies?
I don't know.
Satan.
we were told not to discuss it with anyone, not even amongst ourselves, which was incredible. I never had been told anything like that in my life. You can't talk about something.
You're the devil.
Prison. I'll tell you what I'm gonna do for you, though. How would you like to always be high?
That'd be great. But you can't have my soul.
Don't need it. Got enough.
You can't have my body.
Listen, I don't want your body. I want your jacket.
Well, I love this jacket.
Yeah. Well, I'm starting a new rock and roll band. We call ourselves the Noodle.
$500 million to the World Health Organization, and there's something very bad going on. And you know what? I've gotten very much involved. It's been going on for a long period of time, and we don't want to be the suckers anymore.
Well, I'm starting a new rock and roll band. We call ourselves the Noodle. Bad Company, early T-Rex, stuff like that. And I need something to wear on stage. And this jacket is the talk of the underworld.
Okay, deal. But what do I get?
Come here. Enjoy.
Wow. Primo. Thank you, Satan.
Yes, we can. 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 𝚁𝙗𝐶. 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 𝚁𝙗𝐶.
Wow. Primo. Thank you, Satan.
And about 2 hours after we berthed at the submarine base, a commander from the Office of Naval Intelligence came on board and debriefed each one of us individually in the captain's stateroom. And the ultimate outcome of the debriefing was that we didn't see anything, we didn't hear anything, and we had to read rules and regulations that told us that if we ever talked about what it was that we didn't see, that we could be imprisoned, we could be fined $10,000, we could lose all pay and allowances due whatever to become due. And I learned at that moment that the United States Navy didn't want anybody to know about what we saw, and that severe consequences could come down around the neck of anybody who did. And that was when I understood fully that, yeah, there's a real cover-up.
Was it worth it, Bauer?
Oh, yeah. You know, Terrence, a great jean jacket just takes time. Brain cells.
Oh, no. My dad says dope is for dopes. Although he only says it when he's, drunk.
Your dad's a wise man, Terrence.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Smart dude.
There's a lake there she knows. All the doors are closed, and she's watching him stairway. There's a sign on the wall, but she wants to be sure, 'cause you know sometimes there's having in a tree by the brook. There's a songbird who sings. Sometimes all of our thoughts are disappear. Makes me wonder. There's a feeling I get when I look through the trees, and my spirit is crying steady, and it will stay and so if we all who stand alone, and the forest will echo with laughter, and a new day will dawn.
The Salvador Agreement was a crowning achievement for UN Secretary General 𝚅𝚗 𝚅𝚗, who says he left office feeling as light as a feather. He leaves behind an impressive legacy, as we hear from Jacqueline Adams.
𝚅𝚗 delayed his retirement by 8 hours to cap his career with another victory, the Salvadoran Peace Accord. After a decade in the job, the Peruvian diplomat said he'd been a reasonably good Secretary General, saving his praise for the institution he'd led.
Nobody can accuse the United Nations of being idle, of being indifferent to international problems. And that is something which I think in itself is extremely important.
When 𝚅𝚗 took office, the UN was considered idle. It was perennially criticized for inaction, and no one expected much from the new, somber Secretary General. He guided Namibia to independence. He helped Iran and Iraq end their 8-year war. The Soviets left Afghanistan. Wars wound down in Cambodia and Nicaragua. Under the United Nations aegis, an unprecedented coalition of nations forced Iraq out of Kuwait, and all but 2 of the Western hostages came home from Lebanon.
The fact that he's so steady, that he's not into showmanship, give other international leaders more confidence in him. Some people have said he's a rather boring character, but in international diplomacy, boring is not bad.
Amid the hostage negotiations, 𝚅𝚗 described himself as a dancer, needing many steps for a dance. He was helped, however, by the music of his era.
𝚅𝚗 came along at the time that the Cold War is winding down. The United States has been exhausted in Vietnam. The Soviets are now being exhausted in Afghanistan.
As a result, cooperation has begun to replace conflict. In almost 2 years, for example, no one has cast a veto in the Security Council, and last month, the Zionism as Racism resolution was finally repealed. There's a lot of pressure on incoming Secretary General Boutros Ghali to continue 𝚅𝚗's momentum.
But Ghali is facing a different era with different problems. Renewed ethnic conflicts, the environment, the growing gap between rich and poor countries, problems of the new world order that may prove more difficult for the UN to solve than anything that came before.
The summit of world leaders at the United Nations this week has raised hopes for a new era of international cooperation. Bruce Morton now with some thoughts on that in his commentary.
You could look at all those heads of government sitting together at the United Nations this past week and imagine that this was the new world order, the leaders of different countries bringing their disputes to the United Nations, which would be powerful, actively engaged in keeping peace in the world. You could look and get that impression, but you'd be wrong. That's not to say the UN is useless. The former Secretary General, 𝚅𝚗 negotiated a peace in El Salvador. They signed the treaty today. But that worked because the two sides in El Salvador wanted it to. Similarly, the United Nations can be a successful peacekeeper, but only when both sides want it to be. The Blue Berets have kept the peace in the Golan Heights for years now, but they did so because the Israelis and the Syrians had tried war and didn't want to fight again. The UN troops aren't heavily armed. They simply give each government an excuse for not fighting, a way to say to local hotheads, we can't invade, the UN is there. By the same token, the UN peacekeeping force in southern Lebanon was much less successful.
As part of our coverage of the presidential campaign from time to time since last autumn, we've been showing you excerpts from the standard key stump speeches of the candidates. This is to give you an opportunity to hear them on the issues in their own words. Tonight, some of what Governor Bill Clinton has been saying recently on the campaign trail.
If you vote for me, in the first 100 days of the next administration, I'll give the United States a plan that will cut the waste in this health care system and take that money and put it into a basic package of affordable health care for all Americans, and our country will be better for it.
The true test of character is not perfection. If it were, no one could pass. The true test of character is admitting your mistakes, learning from them, seeking forgiveness for them, and going on and doing better with your life.
Everybody can borrow the money and pay it back according to their ability to pay, either with a small percentage of their income after they go to work, or even better, by giving 2 years of their life here at home to an American Peace Corps. Come back to San Antonio and pay off your college loan by being a teacher or a police officer or working to keep kids off drugs and out of gangs or working in a health clinic. Help to solve the problems of America. Instead of sending these young kids to prison, why don't we keep them in the community and have community-based punishment where they get education and drug treatment and do community service work? George Bush running ads in the South about welfare. You know what he means, don't you? That's right. Welfare is them. If you vote for me, it's us. Now let me tell you something. We Democrats ought to take the welfare reform issue back. You want to do something about those people? Opportunity and responsibility. Empowerment. You have to spend more on education and training and child care and medical coverage. Then you say, okay, we have empowered you. You can be a good parent and a good worker. Now you got to go to work. This is an interesting election year, and I know this is a nonpartisan organization, but I have to tell you, I've been working on my campaign memoirs. I haven't gotten very far. I haven't written a word, but I picked a title. A Billionaire, a Millionaire, and Me. George Bush has invoked a new world order without enunciating a new American purpose. But for all his experience, skill, and cautious professionalism, the president has still failed to articulate clear goals for our nation's foreign policy in this new age.